I'm so glad you're joining us today. I'm here to give you a little food for thought about harmony and melody and the pandemic and give you some music to listening to. I'm so glad that Hope Grows invited me to share with you some of these respite moments. And I'm going to be talking, again, as I just said, some about harmony and melody. But if you just want to skip and listen to the Mozart and Bach pieces I will be playing for you, look in the timestamps below, and you could just listen to those. And if you want, come back and listen to the rest of it. So, I'm Michelle Muth. I'm a board-certified music therapist and drum circle facilitator. But today, I'm coming to you from my restored childhood piano because, above all, piano is my first love instrument. Love this instrument. And it's where I go to when I need some self-care and to express myself. And I often go to classical because that is where I started, and that's sort of my home base. So what is harmony? Technically in music, all harmony is the simultaneous sound of two musical tones sounding together. It could be, so I play them both together, those are two notes, play them together. That's harmony. More than two notes. It's just not one note by itself. When you have one note by itself followed by a succession of other notes, that's melody. So harmony is not always harmonious, as we tend to use that word and think of things as sounding and feeling good together. Harmony is, again, simply multiple musical tones sounding at the same time. And they can be consonant, sort of that open feeling, or they can be dissonant. Hear those two notes together? And then it resolves. So it's that tension and release that we also find in life. And I was thinking about this. You know, during this pandemic, so many of us have been functioning very much like a single note or multitude of notes as we go through the day, but as a melody, which is beautiful in and of itself. And you can have harmony within that single line. But we perhaps haven't had a lot of chance for harmony because we aren't together. And particularly for those of you who are caregivers, you may be with somebody in your home, but because of your role you play as a caregiver, you may feel very much that you're a melody, a solo melody alone. Perhaps some days it's happy. Perhaps some days it's hard. Or sad, like that one. Perhaps some days it's angry. And you just feel like you're one note at a time, all the time. So in many ways, harmony supports a melody. It fills it out. But a melody can stand just as well on its own. So this is just a melody. You can hear a lot of harmony in it. So that's one hand from a Bach Invention number 1, which is a contrapuntal piece, meaning that there are two melodies that weave together and they connect. You hear harmony, but it's the same melody but repeated in each hand. So within that melody we just heard, there actually is some harmony. Some notes are a little more important than others. Versus. So you can hear that. So now let's hear some of these two lines together. Sort of like two people living in a house, perhaps right now, during the pandemic. You have a lot of similarities in what you're doing, yet you're independent, or some maybe not so independent. But there are times when you touch when it's harmonious and when it's not. But if you hear things like this one has, that's that melody, and then it comes in with this hand. But it just does that. So it's like they're listening to each other but doing their own thing. And then it goes into supportive role. And that with melody illustrating how you've got one line that transformed into that whole beautiful piece. As if there were two people moving around together, and then they would touch, and then they move away, and then there was that point where we had that dissonance, but you need it in life to put that tension, pull, and release. It's sort of a little bit education about music and harmony and melody, but I also want you to think about your life. How is your life feeling like a solo melody right now? If I were my own melody, I would sound like, and if you think of a particular piece of music and that's what you want to match it to, or you hum something to yourself and you're like, oh, that's how I feel right now. You could think about, when I'm sad, this is the piece of music or the melody I want to hear. Even some words added in there. Feeling that would give you a sense of contentment or connection. Is there a melody that might go with that? And so a melody has so much contained within it. So now I'm going to take a Mozart melody, and I want you to listen to this Mozart melody and think about how significant it is, even just on its own. Wasn't that simply beautiful sounding on its own? I didn't use the pedals so you just had the sense of melody. And that melody, so simple, much more simple than the Bach, has such a presence. When added to it are harmony. And within, so I'm going to play the left hand, and there is a melody within all these notes. So there's a richness when you add that harmony in, right? And in Mozart, he was very strong with melodies, but he added counter melodies in somewhat in your chord progression underneath. Here becomes a dissonance. But you need that. You need that dissonance to make the consonants more satisfying and grounded. So I guess I want you to think about what your melody might be in this moment. If you've got a melody in your life, how might harmony be added to it? So I just offer you with those thoughts. Encourage you to deep breathe as you listen to the pieces I'm going to be playing. Well, thank you for spending time here with me. My name's Michelle Muth, and I hope you live musically today.